Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I want to start by saying a huge thank you to everyone who has decided to support my channel at this point. There are already some people subscribing, there are people who have been liking my videos. Thank you so much for doing that, I really do appreciate it. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm glad you made it. So, for today's project, I'm going to be working with Call Me Crafty Al's SheetLoad of Cards. I think probably if you found me, you might be familiar with this already, but in case you're not, Call Me Crafty Al has her own channel here on YouTube, and she provides this free sketch for her channel subscribers each month. I will link the video where you can find this particular sketch down below so you can take a look. But this is where I got this from, or that is where I got this from. And she just gives you it all. This has the cutting instructions, everything you need to know, how much paper you need. Usually, or most of the time, I think she does 12 by 12 paper, but this is actually designed for 6 by 6 papers, which is great. I have plenty of those. I'm sure pretty much all of us do. And only thing that I'm going to be doing differently this time is this was actually designed for, let me see where it is, A2 card bases. But as I'm the weird European child, I'm going to be using my A6. No, I don't know. I'm just the standard European size. That's what I'm going to be using. It's close to A2, but not quite. I think it's A6 here. I don't know. I'm confused. Help me. Anyway, I just wanted to do this intro in real time, but as this video goes on, I will speed it up probably the same 4 times as I have done in the past. But anyway, welcome aboard and let's get this thing done. I decided to use Mintay's Merry and Pride collection for my cards or my sheet load. And as many of you probably know, Mintay has these scenes on one side of their papers. Often they do, not always, but often they do. So what I was doing here is I was trying to make sure that when I cut the paper, like for example, when you cut off 1-inch strip on one side, I wanted to make sure that there was something interesting on that strip that I was cutting out. So I usually took the image side or the busier side and started with that. That's just what felt easier for me. And here I'm trying not to cut the Santas in the middle. But yeah, after I had cut one paper, it was really easy to cut the rest. Crafty has made such a great job with this sketch once again. It was really easy to follow. I had no issues. Sometimes I kind of like had to adjust the order a little bit because I was using a guillotine trimmer, or actually two in 2 different sizes. So sometimes it was easier for me to start with the bigger or the smaller piece. So obviously you can do what works best for you. But that was something I was considerant of, or I had to consider. And yeah, there you see me struggling with measuring things. But it wasn't that hard. At the simplest, it's really easy to make a sheet load of cards. It's great for mass producing like birthday cards or invitations or whatever you want to make. In this case, I was obviously making Christmas cards, but um, I think these sketches work for any occasion depending on the papers that you use and the color scheme that. Yeah, that was that was a difficult word, but yeah, you can do whatever you want to. And here I'm almost done with the cutting. Okay, let's hop back to the real time recording for now. Uh, I just wanted to explain that I have got all my pieces right now. I have the pattern paper and then I have the matting layers, just like the instructions say here. I did not cut the white pieces yet for sentiment or the image because I'm not sure what I will use for that yet. We will see. I decided to put the cards together first and then figure out the rest of it. So yeah, the next thing I'm going to do is to decide this paper is double-sided, so I'm going to decide which side I'm going to be using. And I will be back after that. Okay, I've got all my pattern paper pieces matted here. And the next thing I will do is just lay all my card bases on the table and see which piece I like with what or which. If you're using the A2 card bases, you can use this piece as basically a model because it's the same size. But for me, that's not true because, yeah, my card bases are not the same size. So yeah, that's the next step. I think her original idea must have been to use same pattern paper on both of the background pieces, but I don't think I will quite go with that. I will just use whatever I see fit and what I think works. So that's what I will do next. Okay, so what I was trying to say earlier was that you can use the sketch on the front of the sheet load instructions as a template, but obviously just couldn't find the word. Here you can see me laying all my card bases down and starting with the bigger pieces. I laid them down. I didn't always put them on the same side as the sketch indicates. I was more like looking at the images, and then I paired that bigger piece of paper with the thinner strip. If the bigger piece was simply or simple, I added a little bit busier piece like I did here. I had this red star paper that was kind of like not so busy, and I took the busy tree paper to go with it. And with the smaller pieces, I just decided to take something that was not one of those background pieces, so just a third pattern. But yeah, as you could see with the first card, I put the bigger piece a little bit towards to the top and the smaller piece closer to the bottom, so I didn't level them up. I did that intentionally. It's really hard for me to make 8 cards or just any amount of cards that are quite or exactly the same to each other. So that's why I wanted to change things up a little here as I was gluing down the pieces. I think this with this one I leveled the two background pieces into the same place, and I was kind of toying with the idea of putting that smaller piece vertically, I think, um, upwards, kind of. But I decided to go on the horizontal way. And here I was once again toying with the pieces. You don't always have to put them into the same order that the sketch tells you to. I think this is just altogether a great way to get the most out of your papers. So I think this card, the third one, was exactly what the sketch called for. But with the fourth one, I'm already cutting a piece in the middle. So yeah, I was having a good time. I was playing around, changing things up, doing what I felt like um, I wanted to do. So, just having fun, having some crafty time. Yeah, I think that's the best thing about the sketch. It really does leave some room for your imagination, or best thing about the sheet load. If you have followed, Crafty Owl has a design team for the sheet load. If you have seen the videos that her design team does, they often change things up as well, which is really interesting to see. It just shows how differently we all see things as crafters. Crafty Owl has her own idea, her design team has their own ideas, and then there's me, who just basically goes crazy with everything. Um, but yeah, I I thought this was really fun. And if you have been kind of scared with the fact that, oh my goodness, I cannot make 8 cards that are exactly the same, well, use your scraps. The sheet load tells you the measurements for all these pieces. So even if you just want to make one card like this, just bring in your scraps. Use what you have. Or, like in this case, I used 4 papers, but they were all double sided, so I ended up with having 8 different patterns that I could use in my cards. And for me, that's really fun. That's something I like to do. Even though I kept on trying to put those smaller pieces down vertically with the papers I was using, it just didn't seem to work. So I decided to go with the horizontal way after all. But sometimes that might work. That could be fun. Who knows? But yeah, there are so many ways you can go, so many directions you can go with this sketch and this sheet load. It was fun. After this, I went ahead and got some scalloped red circles and also some stitched white circles. Um, there you go. And I used my sentiment stamps to stamp them, or stamp a sentiment on the white circles and glued them together. After that, I was kind of like playing around with the placement, and I did make that mistake. I forgot to stamp one sentiment and I needed 8, so I just took a sticker and used that instead. It's not a big deal. I had already decided which ephemera or cut apart pieces I wanted to use on the first 2 cards, but on the first card, I had these Christmas ornaments that have that hook or the loop on the top of them. So I wanted to punch holes to those. For the first one, I used my crocodile. The hole or the loop was big enough for me to do that. But with the second one, I actually used my awl because it was simply too small for the crocodile. Here you can just see me using some 3D squares to pop some things up. And I also wanted to adhere a star on the top. Which one is that? Top right corner. And that card was done. I did not show the finished cards at this point because A, for the first part, they were not finished. And B, I wanted to do or go through them at the end. So you will see them later. Don't worry if it's going too fast. I did speed things up quite a bit during this video. There I'm just drawing drawing some lines for kind of like, I don't know, threads where the ornaments hang from, or those were actually Christmas lights, but anyway. For the third one, I decided to use this Santa ornament. I'm pretty sure I just got myself out of some thought there a little bit like a while ago, but I'm sure it wasn't anything important, as I already forgot it. Don't mind me being myself, forgetting things, it's okay. Anyway, for this card, instead of using some cutter parts or ephemera, I didn't really know if they fit or not, so I just decided to take some snowflakes and use those instead. I took 3 of them, and as I have quite many layers on my cards, and you can see that I placed some of those snowflakes between different pieces on the background, they did sunk a little bit, but that's also fine. Here I was trying to use that train, but I decided not to. I put in some cookies for Santa instead. I didn't want to use the train because it was simply too big. It would have covered something I did not want to cover on the background, like the Santa, or you probably don't see it, but they are like gifts packages that are packed in brown paper on that little strip that goes across the card. And I didn't want to cover those, so that's why I decided not to go with the train. I still had 3 cards left. My sentiments say joyful Christmas time, I believe, and also peaceful Christmas. Quickly translated. I mainly put the joyful Christmas time sentiments for those that had happy images like the elves or something, and if it was more peaceful, then I went with the peaceful sentiment. Makes sense, doesn't it? Anyway, here I was punching a hole with the crocodile again. Later on in this video, if that didn't happen already, I don't think it did. And yeah, I was throwing some trims there. But yeah, I had a little oopsie. One of those hoops or loops on top of the ornaments actually broke. because I was using my awl to make that hole, and I was a little bit too rough-handed, so it broke, but that was completely fine. I glued it down and nobody will never know. Except, oops, whole internet. Yeah, but that's fine. And there you can see me bringing in some bling and also the distress collage medium that I use. Yes, the flatback gems that I'm using, they are self-adhesive, but I've noticed that sometimes, even though it feels strong in the beginning, it isn't. It comes off the card, and I don't want that to happen. So I often tend to use the, well, usually I use the collage medium. That's my favorite glue for this matter. It dries clear, so it doesn't smear or look awful, even if I put a little bit too much. So I love it, and to my experience, it seems to hold on really well. So I've had no issues with that. I have used like regular glue with gems like this before, but I feel as it dries, it's a little bit too easy to kind of like flick the gem out. And same goes for slick surfaces like acetate or even, what's it called? Like a mirror cardstock, metallic cardstock. I feel like the regular glue just doesn't work really well with those kind of things, so that's why I want to use the Distress Collage medium for those. Anyway, we are almost done here. It's actually my birthday today, so let's see what kinds of fun things I can come up with. Okay, so we are all done. I got my 8 cards made. I wasn't really good at following the sketch, but I did my best, kind of, sort of. Let's go through with these cards. Let's see, here's the first one. I think the extra ephemera or cut arts that I used here, they just add so much. I mean, it's perfectly okay to make the sheet load just as it is, but I really wanted to add something, some interest to it, because that's just my style, I guess. Anyway, I really hope you like this set. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up. And thanks for taking your time to hang out with me today. Here is the last one. As we're done with the cards, I wanted to give you guys a little extra treat. Here is a sneak peek of what's coming next on my channel. I just made it into a design team. Yay! I'm in Natty and Moon's design team now, and I will be making a journal with her Farmhouse Christmas chunk journaling kit. So that is what is coming. Stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.